Hello and welcome back to another episode of the People's Wrestling Podcast. I'm joined again, as always, by Ali Bunker and Matt
Hello.
Bumby. Guys,
Hello.
how's it going?
It's going all right. Not too bad.
Yeah, all right.
Matt,
Better for me than Matt.
I was going to say, Matt, you're bedbound at the moment, right?
Yeah, bit of a back issue. Bit of a back issue.
What have you done?
On some, I've got sciatica. Bit
Oh,
boring.
yeah.
So yeah, Matt's not been cleared to compete for a little while, but he's been cleared to join us on the podcast.
It did just give us a warning that if he starts slurring halfway through the episode, then we know that his drugs have kicked in.
Yeah, it's the medication.
Prescription drugs, not not anything else.
Not the
to
case.
clarify. But yes, so Matt may be drowsy, may not be. It's a bit of a voyage of discovery for us here this weekend. We'll see how it goes. So what we wanted to do this week was a little bit something different, something that we've not done before. This particular episode will be a kind of a precursor to the next one coming. But when we were discussing ideas for the podcast to kind of bring it back and freshen it up and stuff like that, we thought that perhaps just having a randomizer full of random topics or wrestlers or specific shows or anything like that, we'll do the randomizer at the start of our recording, see what it ends up with, and then we'll just talk about that for the episode. So none of us know going into it what we'll be talking about. But in order to do that, we need to actually populate our randomizer with stuff. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Not it won't be too much of a long one. We'll just be rattling through some subjects that we think would be cool to talk about, and we'll chuck them in the randomizer, and then next episode will be us talking about whatever it picks out for us. So without further ado, we'll start chucking in some random items into the hat. We'll kind of
Metaphorical hat, obviously.
Metaphorical hat, yes, obviously. Unless Matt wants to use his actual real one that he's got there. He's got more than enough. So we'll go kind of, we'll alternate between us, just in case one of us maybe steals the other one's idea or whatever. So, Ali, we'll begin with you. What one do you want to start with?
So yeah, I mean, this is I've got a few lined up, but one of them that I was quite interested in getting your thoughts on actually, is the use of celebrities in wrestling over over the course of history and present day. We've seen with Bad Bunny, etc. I want to know your guys' thoughts on what are some of the most memorable, for good or bad reasons, celebrity interactions in wrestling.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I think we could
I
ramble
think
on about that for a little while.
I think the majority may be negative experiences.
Yeah, I mean, just thinking of a couple off the top of my head, trying to think of positive ones that have actually worked out quite well. It's proving quite difficult, but we'll tackle
There's
that
one
when...
that was pretty good, but
There's a few. There's a few when you look back. Memorable, at least, rather than maybe good. But
when it goes well, it tends to go quite well. But yeah, when it goes bad, it tends to be a bit of a car crash.
and not Flow Rider turning up at every Florida event.
Just in general, not even specifically wrestling. just there all the time.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I think that's a good one to start with. Matt, what are one of the ones that you want to chuck in?
Eddie Guerrero.
Nice. We don't get a chance to talk about Eddie Guerrero a lot on the podcast because we
I don't
tend
think
to
a lot
really
of
talk
people.
about current.
I don't think a lot of people talk about how good he was or how bad he was. It depends on your opinion. If that is your opinion, you're wrong. But yeah, I'd like to talk about Eddie.
Good for you. Yeah, I don't think we spent a lot of time talking about Eddie on this podcast at all, to be honest. So I know, Aidan, you were a big Eddie Guerrero fan.
Yeah, I cried my eyes out when he died. Genuinely. Watching that SmackDown episode was one of the worst experiences of my 10-year-old existence at that point. So yeah, that's pretty.
Were you 10 when he died?
I was 10 when he died.
Oh, that's made me feel really old.
So I remember I found out through the episode of SmackDown, so I didn't know going into it. So I remember specifically going upstairs to grab my Game Boy charger, and then coming downstairs and the episode started, and started crying my eyes out. But yeah, there's that. I think that'd be a good one to talk about. We don't get to talk about him a lot, and there's quite a lot to get through. So yeah, I will add that in. I'll write these down as we go, but Ali's the one in control of the randomizer, so I don't know if you'll also be making a note of them.
I probably should be. You're right.
It's a good idea. I'll get a pen.
I'll do it anyway, because then it saves me having to pay attention to it when I'm editing, so we don't miss any out. Okay, so we've got celebrities in wrestling at Eddie Guerrero so far. One of the ones I wanted to talk about was, I think, the year 1997 in general would be quite interesting to talk about, seeing the state of the product at the start of the year compared to the end of the year and all the things that have happened through in between.
Wrestling specifically, yeah. So we're not going to be talking about like Princess Diana and Tony Blair or anything like that.
No, probably not.
We should sort of steer away from stuff like that.
Yeah.
Could be controversial.
Specifically WWE or WWF at the time, because my WCW knowledge of the 90s is quite limited, mainly to the bad stuff, because that's all it seemed to be.
Yeah. There weren't much good stuff.
So yeah, we'll restrict it to WWF in the 1997 when we can. But yeah, I think that'll be it's quite a good year in my opinion.
Big year of change.
Yeah, big year of change, big year of, I think, real quality as well. So yeah, interesting one to talk about. Matt, give us your second one.
I'll tie it in. I would like to talk about the Montreal Screwjob.
Speaking of 97.
Maybe not so much the event itself, because I think it's been overkilled, but the events leading up to it and the events after it, and just looking at what could have happened and what maybe should have happened.
There's a plethora of options with the Montreal Screwjob, and I think as everyone's opinion is out there already, but it'd be good to, again, I don't think it's something that we've really touched on either on the show. So.
I was going to say, our opinion's not out there. So yeah, I'm sure the people are clamoring to hear what we think about something that happened 24 years ago. So we will give it to them should the randomizer allow it.
Give them what they want.
Exactly. Ali, can you give us one of your other ones?
Yep. One of my other ones was best, or again, it could be most memorable, family feuds in wrestling. So, there's a fair few options, a few standout options. Maybe we can discover some lesser known or lesser discussed ones as well. But going off the theme of family, as we are on this podcast, what is the best wrestling family feud?
I like it. There's probably a fair few things that we can talk about and come up with that.
I mean, one stands out to me.
There's a couple that stand out there, and there's about 10 McMahon ones as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, a bit McMahon dominated that episode potentially, but I'm sure that's just how they like it. It's like an episode of Raw in 2016. One of my ones I thought would be interesting to talk about is the current women's roster and the state of it and areas of improvement, what we could do with it, where it's perhaps going wrong, what's been good about it since in the last 5-6 years. I think the kind of the state of the current women's scene in WWE could be quite a broad topic that we could flesh out a bit.
I think we've dipped our toe into it. I think it's time we did a dive bombing straight into it.
Yeah, because I know that Matt, you've got some quite strong opinions on the women's roster. So
I do.
I'd be very interested to hear your latest opinions on Bailey, considering your opinion on her was very low when we last recorded an episode specifically regarding the Four Horsemen.
Yes, I've been thinking about that throughout kind of 2020, and yeah, my opinion of Bailey now that we've seen her in a different role is definitely improved as to what it was when we did our Four Horsewomen.
Couldn't get much worse.
It's not that I hated Bailey or anything like that. I just didn't get it.
Just in
comparison to the rest, just I didn't quite stack up with the rest being the other three horsewomen. Didn't quite stack up. So yeah, we'll get into that should the randomizer allow it. Okay, I'll pick another one of mine and then we'll go back to you, just kind of mixing it up. One of the other ones I wanted to talk about, which is one of the reasons why I'm throwing this in is because I want to delve deeper into this for both for Ali and my sake, but also the viewers' sake. I want to talk about The Rock. Go through his entire career, both Matt pre-hating him and also post-hating him.
Hey, because believe it or not, there was a time when Matt didn't hate The Rock.
There was a time, I will admit it.
Exactly, and this is why I want to add The Rock to our randomizer. And
that's going to be a bleak show.
I want your.
Matt feel that week.
Yeah.
I want your
full
investment. I want your full investment for that episode, Matt. When you're on your honest and authentic self. None of this.
No, Matt's authentic self.
But I don't want you to be sitting there sulking for the first half hour while we talk about The Rock pre-2013. Yeah, so I think that can be quite fun, I think. And it will also give perhaps some viewers who don't know an insight into why Matt is one of the Rock's only small number of haters in the world.
Now, you say that, but I think there's more out there that don't like him.
Oh, yeah, I imagine there's a few.
To come out.
I personally don't get it myself. So yeah, we'll add The Rock into the randomizer. And Ali, how many topics have you got to bring? I've brought 6 to the table.
I've got 5. I mean, I could probably think of a few more off the top of my head as well, as long as someone else says them. But,
I did bring 6, but one of them has already been. Matt said one of mine, so I've only really got 5.
I've got 6.
My sort of next proposed topic would be the possibility of a UK Big 4 pay-per-view, and what are the options should WWE ever decide to go down that route.
Like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see that happen, and I would like to go to it.
I think we would.
Should we ever be allowed to go to anything with more than 6 people in the room ever again? But we shall see.
Fucking COVID.
Global bastard. Speaking of global bastards, Matt, what one have you got?
Actually, go on. I'll go to this one now. Hulk Hogan.
What a segue.
That wasn't what a segue.
Yeah, I think the opinion of Hulk Hogan in the last 5 years or so has definitely evolved in the wider wrestling community. I think we could have a pretty good discussion about his time, I guess, in ring as mainly in WWF, and then his time outside of the ring, where maybe it's not gone quite as well. But yeah, that was a good one. Because we don't get to talk about him currently. So one of the current things I did want to put in our randomizer was NXT as a whole. Talk about the brand, not just as it is now, but the kind of progression since it really started out and then became kind of a third brand, and similar to the women's division, where it's perhaps going wrong, what's good about it, why it stands out from WWE's main products. I think that would be a pretty interesting topic. And then we could discuss probably the best call ups and the ones that really fell flat on their face and stuff like that.
Pretty much all of them.
Vince
is not an NXT guy.
Is it any fault of their own? Like, things have been done different. Not obviously that we don't know the insides and outs, but interesting stuff, I think. Matt, give us another one of yours. We're starting to flesh it out now. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I've still got 1, 2, 3. I've still got 4. So I'm going to go with the one I've just remembered. Tag team wrestling.
I know this is one that you've wanted to talk about for a while. Tag team wrestling, just in general. Because it definitely isn't a priority, we'll say, in WWE's programming, especially at the moment. But yeah, when it's good, it can be really fucking good. So yeah, tag team wrestling. I think we can flesh that out for an entire episode. Right, Ali, give us another one of yours.
I'm just trying to see which one fits best at the minute. I think in terms of actual wrestlers rather than topics for this one, I wanted to talk about someone who probably divides a bit of opinion, but I think the general opinion is someone who's entirely being underused. I want to talk about Ricochet. I think he garners a bit of debate, especially due to his style and the modern style of wrestling. I think there are those who think he should be more utilized than he is. I think those who think he's in the exact place that he should be. So Ricochet for me.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I think that could kind of open up a wider conversation, like you said, about the style of wrestling and perhaps some of the kind of the clips that have gone viral over the years.
Flippy shit.
Yeah, the hashtag flippy shit. The match between Vader and Will Ospreay, I don't know if did that actually happen. I think it did. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think we can have an episode on Ricochet. I've got a lot to say about Ricochet. I know that much. Because I bloody love the guy. But anyway, Ricochet has the potential, if they use him right, to potentially be a legend. Who knows? One of the things I wanted to talk about would be bringing back legends in their prime into the current product, and how you'd mesh them in, who you'd want to see them go up against, and stuff like that. I think that as a fantasy episode, we could probably come up with some pretty good shit. Even like a pay-per-view card of just legends
versus new.
They could be dead, they could be alive, they could still be wrestling or what. But yeah, I think a fantasy card or something along those lines would be pretty sweet. So add that to the docket. Ali, give us another one of yours if you've got any.
Yep. My next one I wanted to go with was favorite WrestleMania sleeper matches. So these are matches that aren't necessarily main events, especially not main events, but are, perhaps widely spoken of as great matches. But I can think of a few examples of matches which, almost stole the show at WrestleManias. Even if they didn't, they were still great matches in isolation. So, yeah, WrestleMania sleeper matches for me.
When you said WrestleMania sleeper matches, I thought it was going to be all the matches that you've fallen asleep to during WrestleMania.
That'll just be a very short topic of discussion.
Do you remember when I was really excited for Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura, and I fell asleep during the entrances, and I woke up after the pinfall?
Yeah.
What a match. What a match.
And at no point, despite being 2 yards away from me on the sofa, did Ali wake me up.
I was engrossed in the match.
Literally, he could have woken you up after about 2 minutes and gone, this is going to be a classic.
I woke up as Sammy was kind of sitting in the ring, and the crowd started to kind of rise and give him a massive ovation and stuff. And I was like, oh, for fuck, I missed this. I think I fell asleep like either during his entrance or in like the build up to Nakamura's. But I literally missed the entire match. It's fucking bollocks.
I wasn't too like, I was like, oh, this is going to be all right. And I was watching it like, this is amazing. This is like one of the best matches I've seen in years.
Yeah, I've seen it since, luckily enough.
It goes down as one of my favourite matches of all time.
Yeah, definitely. I need to watch that actually. Watch it again. It's been a while. Been a minute. But yeah, that was a bad time for me. I watched literally the entire rest of the show. I just missed the best match.
I can't even remember any of the rest of that show. I think Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe, was it?
Yeah. There was NXT tag title match, the Gable and Jordan and the Revival, and Bailey and Asuka.
Nice.
Pretty good show.
Yeah, when you think about it. So yeah, those all I've now run out of my ones I've written down. I don't know if you guys have got any other ones that you've written down.
Well, I've got 3 more, but I may put 2 into the same category.
Go for it.
Go on.
Well, I had TLC and Buried Alive, but I may just go with gimmick matches.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We have done a gimmick match special in the past. I think we did 2 episodes on kind of various different matches and talked about ones that we remembered best and ones that were really good and kind of put the matches on the map. But you maybe explore it a bit deeper.
To speak about ones maybe that we didn't, aren't maybe spoken about as much. Maybe even some less positive experiences on things like Punjabi prison matches.
Boiler Room Brawl.
Hey, classic, man.
Yeah.
Classic.
I loved it.
Yeah, because we only spoke about, I think, like 7 or 8, and it was kind of
Hell in a Cell.
The best and our favourite gimmick matches. We didn't really go through perhaps some of the ones that weren't quite as successful or have not caught on the way that others have. So yeah, I think we could do a pretty decent episode on gimmick matches. What was the other ones that you got on your list?
Mick Foley.
All right, Mick Foley.
Basically, what I wanted to say is, and this could be really, really controversial, would he been as good if he didn't do the crazy shit that he's known for? Or, even if, take out Hell in a Cell, is he the same person?
That's worthy of debate. I mean, I think
that could be the intro line, the tagline going into the episode.
I think things like Hell in a Cell certainly put him on the map, but yeah, you're right. Like, is that what he's remembered for mostly, more than anything else? And should he be? I think there's plenty else in his career that you could probably speak of that deserves just as much attention. So.
And it would have also been interesting to see, perhaps, because that Hell in a Cell match definitely did a number on him. Would be interesting to see how his career post-Cell had panned out if he had escaped injury-free, or if the match didn't quite go down the way it did.
Or if we just stopped doing them after that one. Might help.
Yeah, there's also an option, but I don't think that there's an option that he ever would have realistically taken up. I love me some Foley, especially promos. He's always been one of my favourite promo guys. So I'd be.
And I can remember being pretty scared shitless of him when he first came in. As Mankind.
The re noises that he used to make. He used to fucking terrify me. It's like
and the pulling his hair out and
you can't say he wasn't committed to his gimmick. Just walking around with patches of hair missing all the time.
You could argue that perhaps he wasn't committed to his gimmick because he ended up with loads of them.
Yeah.
And his worst one was the one he liked the most.
Yeah,
It didn't hurt him as much.
Yeah, probably. Didn't have to fall off cells. He could just do some boogieing, which I guess is. I don't blame him.
Yeah.
So yeah, we could do an episode on Mick Foley. Ali, have you got any others written down, or you exploring the brain?
I've got a couple. One of mine, I think I like this one, would be Wrestling Room 101. So
We did this for a little while, didn't we?
Fucking many.
Do you remember quite early on in our show?
We had a little segment on it, but I think we should bring that one back.
Do a whole show.
I'm more than happy to. Yeah, I've got a fucking lot.
You're not allowed to put Brooklyn in Room 101.
Brooklyn Beckham. I've written WrestleMania. Wrestling 101.
I reckon we could do probably about 2 shows on that.
Yeah, there's so much that pisses me off about wrestling. I don't know why.
And I think, just off the top of my head, and I think we'll all agree with this. Just now, I'm putting in the green shirted guy. He can fuck off.
Even though we haven't seen him for months, I guarantee the first show back he'll be there.
Yeah, and he just pisses me off. Just wear a different shirt, you fucking idiot.
If you weren't purposely trying to be a gimmick or recognizable, you wouldn't wear the same thing, the exact same thing, and sit in the exact same seat for
and then say you
show
have different ones.
For years on end.
You don't. It's the same fucking t-shirt, you smelly bastard.
Even if he has the same t-shirt a few times over, he probably doesn't have the same hat. Same multiple of the same hat. So that hat definitely got a bit of a stench going on. So yeah,
do you know what?
Room
I'm really disappointed because when we came back, I was like, I really want to do a show about Yokozuna. And then the fucking WWE brought that documentary out. I was like, fuck's sake.
I heard you.
It's very good.
Yeah, actually, I forgot about it.
Yeah, it's good. It's a series, isn't it? An Icons series. It'll be interesting to see what else other ones they do.
British Bulldog's going to be on there.
Might be interesting.
I think it was quite upsetting, and I didn't realise how young he was when he died.
Yeah, it's
Yokozuna.
Hard to picture him being that young, but I can't. Is he 33?
Yeah.
Something like that. So just almost the same age as me. Too young to die. But also, he was a very large man.
He was.
It was interesting to hear the lengths that people and WWE went to try and help as well. I didn't know, obviously, all about that stuff.
I did like the Mark Henry. We used to have to go and get him chicken.
Yeah. And then Mark was like, I couldn't say anything. I was eating half a bucket of chicken.
Imagine being able to just order around legitimately the world's strongest man.
He said for a long time, all he was Yokozuna's go-to guy. It's like, Yoke just used to say, go get me chicken.
Yeah, threaten to sit on you otherwise.
One thing I never knew was the contract signing for WrestleMania 9. They had to do that twice because Brett got legitimately injured by Yoko when he sat on him.
Yeah. Did you hear about the guy that he actually did genuinely fuck up?
No.
I've seen a couple clips of him sitting on, he does the bonsai drop, and it you can tell he's just crushed someone's sternum. It's so much force.
I think he disrespected someone backstage, and I don't know where I saw this, but Yokozuna was like, "Don't worry, I've got this," and literally just smashed him straight off the bonsai drop, and then the referees were like, "No, stop," and he was like, "No, I'm doing another one." So just went up and did it again.
Very dangerous.
It's the kind of move and area and weight that you don't want coming down on your chest. So to have it multiple times legit is pretty dangerous.
And again, till about 10 years ago, didn't realise he was Samoan.
Yeah, to be fair,
I bought into that gimmick. I bought into it.
100%.
Like, it's so obvious now when you know.
Yeah, when you look at him, you're like, oh, yeah, he's definitely Samoan.
Like, did I ever hear him speak Japanese?
Yeah.
Doesn't Japanese at all, but
he said bonsai a lot. I'm sure he did.
He had Mr. Fuji as a manager, therefore basically Japanese, right?
Well, I actually watched. This is going to sound really. Why did I do it? I actually went back and watched WrestleMania 9 the other day.
All of it?
All of it.
Must have been those meds.
Yeah, those meds had kicked in.
He hallucinated that there was this naked, hairy man came out to the ring and had a match.
How? That match is so bad.
The event is pretty terrible.
Yeah,
even the better matches. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them.
The Shawn Michaels Tatanka match is probably the best match.
I was interested to hear, because you know how Brett takes everything seriously. With WrestleMania 9, he was talking in the Yoko documentary, wasn't he? That the first part of the match was pretty good, and actually watching it back, it was all right. But then Yoko just went straight from part A to like part D.
Yeah, like that. He literally was like, "I'm tired. We need to go to finish." Yeah. And they went to finish too quick, and Mr. Fuji didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. So he wasn't in place to throw the stand in his eyes. So yeah, it was a bit of a mess for a WrestleMania main event.
I think the Shawn Michaels and Tatanka match was always going to be a good match when you've got one of the greatest of all time, someone who could have a great match with anyone, and also Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I like the way you did that.
Didn't it end in a count out?
Yeah, because they were protecting Tatanka's unbeaten record, weren't they?
Yes, they were. Yeah.
But if you watch
funniest
thing, watch Undertaker as he comes out with that vulture. It starts to go mental at the end. Like, and Undertaker's like,
Should we do a WrestleMania 9?
We should do a WrestleMania 9.
Well, talking about it is just giving me an idea of one that I just written down. Undertaker's streak.
Oh, I was there for the last time he actually won at WrestleMania. Just to put that out there.
As part of the streak.
Yeah, he won obviously. No one cares about it after it.
Yeah, it should not have been a thing after. Yeah, I think we could talk about like perhaps some of the better matches.
Should it have been broken?
Yeah, like should it have been broken earlier? Should it have been broken at all? Yeah, should he have wrestled after it was broken, etc., etc. So, yeah, that gives us 18.
I mean, we could
2 more out of the air, gets 20. I think that's quite a broad selection.
I think we could do 2 episodes, one on the streak and one on the Undertaker.
Could do. There'd be a lot to get through.
Undertaker's career. On similar terms, I thought perhaps one that, again, someone that we don't necessarily talk about too much, mainly because of time scales where we currently are. John Cena, big star. John Cena's career. Life and Times. Jonathan Cena.
Yeah, I think
divides opinion.
I think because
most polarizing superstar in WWE history, apparently.
All right, Michael Cole. Since we started the podcast, Cena's kind of wound down, hasn't he? And he's only really had a handful of kind of, well, at least high-profile matches. So yeah, we as a podcast missed out the bulk of his career. So yeah, I think it'd be good to go back and talk about Cena. Like is some of the hate he gets warranted?
I think it'd be interesting to discuss is that hate still there? I feel like there's probably for all of us been times where we've been sick of Cena, seen enough and all that kind of jazz. But is that hate actually, like a little bit like it did with Kurt Angle, is the hate actually respect?
Yeah, I think it'd be one of those situations where you only appreciate it once it's gone, or not everyone, but
I
the
also
majority.
feel we could do an episode on announcers.
Announcers, as in commentators?
Commentators, announcers,
Backstage interviewers.
yeah.
I'll do an episode on Renee.
I bet you would.
So we'll call them broadcasters.
Because I honestly think we've all got an opinion on who our favourites are. Who?
Mike Adamley.
What
a man.
I saw a thing the other day about bringing who was Todd Pettengill back. There was an online survey to bring him back.
It's like one of those things where when he reaches a certain amount of signatures, it has to be discussed in Parliament.
All in favour, say aye.
Yeah, well, he's done a couple of things, especially in the last couple of years, hasn't he?
I can't remember whether it was him or was it Tony Mooney? Is that what his name is? What's his name? The Mooney guy.
Tom
Mooney? Can't remember. But I can't remember if it was him or Todd Pettengill who did the In Your House promo video for NXT.
It was Todd Pettengill, I think.
Was it?
Yeah, because he was also on the Edge and Christian show as well. Did a whole episode about how he lost his trousers. Yeah, he's popped up a few times on a few things on the network over the last couple of years. So he's obviously still on good terms with them. And he's got some kind of working relationship. So
I never knew why they got rid of him. He was actually quite good.
Sean Mooney.
I think Todd Pettengill just went on to bigger and better things.
Did he?
WCW.
Pettengill. He's now 54.
You got to be concerned if I've mixed up my announcers now.
Is that all he is? 54?
Yeah, 54, yeah. He was very young. He was with WWE from 93 to 97. And he had an incredible hairstyle for some of those years. Very long at the back. Very long at the back.
I can always remember him at Survivor Series wearing his cowboy hat.
Yes.
1994.
We don't talk about Survivor Series 94.
Why?
Is that not the traumatic Bob Backlund Bret Hart experience?
Oh yeah, those are bad times. And also Doink the Clown versus Cherry the King, and all the small people.
Very politically correct. Right, so small people, but quite large list. 21.
Hey.
Thank you. 21 options we've got there. So what we'll do, Ali, is after this, I'll text you the list, and then you can put them into a randomizer because I can't be bothered.
Okay.
And then, next week we won't do this every week, but next week we'll run the randomizer. We'll see what it comes out with. We'll see if we can flesh it out for a full episode. If maybe we only get a 10-15 minute discussion out of it, we'll just run it again. See what happens.
Even do a couple of them.
Yeah.
Are we not going to talk about NXT next week? As they've got a show this Sunday.
TakeOver Vengeance Day. Any need for the day?
Vengeance Day, yeah.
No.
I guess it's meant to be a play on V-Day, but
yeah. We could do an episode on NXT if you're up for it.
I mean, I've got to watch the event first.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm available if we want to do it in the week. So this is how we do things in the PWP. We don't do much planning. We just
we go with the flow.
Yeah,
We're all on
fly by the
lockdown,
seat of
so
our pants. Yeah, I'm not doing anything else with my time in the evenings. So,
I mean, the only day I am not free is Tuesday. That's because I'm watching
Ali, do you want to do
football.
Tuesday then?
Do Tuesday if you really want
All right, we'll come up with something. We might do 2 episodes. We'll do an NXT one and then a randomizer one. And yeah, with the randomizer, we'll drop it in every now and then, perhaps once a month, twice a month. Who knows? Depends on if we're running low on subjects to talk about.
Can't be bothered to think of something to speak about.
Yeah, if we're in one of our lazy days. So yeah, hopefully it produces some fun conversations, some interesting and thought-provoking conversations, and hopefully it's stuff that you might enjoy as well.
If not, fuck you guys.
Yes,
we're trying our best.
Always endearing himself to the fans.
What I might do is I might tweet out a couple of the options that we've got and try and kind of gauge what ones perhaps might be most interesting to people. But as I say, we've not got any control over what comes out of the randomizer. So,
and I also think we should do a little bit of fishing on Twitter and see if we can get some questions from the public.
From the PW peeps.
The peepers.
Exactly. The peepers.
Oh God, that was a horrible nickname. It's like when Tess started calling his fans testicles.
Oh, the Attitude Era. What an era.
Yes, what an era. Well, what a potential few episodes we've got in store for you all with this randomizer. I'm quite excited for it because I think it's going to be quite good. So make sure to join us for whenever we decide to do it. It might be the next episode, it might not, depending if we do NXT or not. So yes, like I said, make sure to join us next time. Make sure to also follow us on Twitter at @the_PWP. Also on Instagram at @the_PWP. Find me on Twitter at Aidan Bunker. That's AIDAN because it gets spelled wrong all the time. Ali, what's your
Ali Bunker 88?
Ali Bunker 88 and Matt.
At the Bear M Bumby.
The Bear M Bumby.
And at the minute, I'm really trying to wind that guy up who's after Alexa Bliss. I'm really trying to get a response out of him.
Yeah,
show him the photo of you and Alexa Bliss actor.
I could. I didn't even think of that.
Oh my God.
Oh. He'll go mad that I've touched her.
You touched his wife.
Appropriately.
Yes. With consent.
It was above the waist. Oh no, I can't do that. Oh my God.
As I paid for it.
Around the waist.
I waited in line. Anyway, let's just let's move on before we end up with any lawsuits. Yes, like I said, we'll let you know when the randomizer episode is coming. Make sure to tune in. Watch us on YouTube. You find us on YouTube at the PWP as well, or People's Wrestling Podcast, however you want to type it in.
The People's Wrestling Podcast, because it's quite hard to find at the PWP.
Oh, is it? Well,
because some swines have got PWP in their fucking names.
Yeah, who'd have thought it, huh? But anyway, yes. Like I said, make sure to join us next time, and we will hopefully see you soon.